9 months. 9 months of sleeping in the same bed as the most dangerous man in New York City. Feeling his body beside mine every night. Breathing the same air. Watching his eyes burn with something he refused to explain. We'd been married for 2 years. Matthew Bale didn't just marry me, he claimed me. Loved me in his own terrifying way. Obsessed over me. He made men disappear for looking at me too long. Once he threatened to burn down an entire block in Manhattan because someone followed me home. And then in one single night, everything turned into hate. For 9 months he never touched me. And the night I finally learned why. I wished I'd stayed ignorant. The truth didn't free me. It broke me. The knife pressed against my throat before I fully understood what was happening. The man holding it, the monster staring down at me, was the same man who had kissed me like I was salvation 9 months ago. Matthew's eyes were empty. Dead. Nothing like the husband who once promised he'd tear the city apart if anyone dared to hurt me. Now he looked at me like I was poison. Like I disgusted him. Like he wanted me gone, but couldn't let me leave. His grip tightened. Try to run again, he whispered near my ear, his voice lethal, controlled, final, and I'll make sure you never walk out of this house alive. My heart shattered. I didn't know what I'd done. I didn't know what changed. But I knew one thing for certain. I was trapped in a marriage with a man who refused to touch me, refused to love me, yet would kill anyone who dared to admire me. I stood in the center of our bedroom staring at the closed door. Matthew had walked past me again without a word. No glance. No acknowledgement. Just the cold sweep of his presence and then nothing. 2 years ago he would have pinned me against that door, kissed me until I forgot my own name. 2 years ago he couldn't keep his hands off me. Now he felt like a stranger living in my house. I moved toward the window watching New York glow below. Endless lights, endless life. Beautiful. Indifferent. Just like him. My reflection stared back at me in the glass. Same woman. Same body. Same heart that loved him too much. So what changed? The next morning I sat alone at the long breakfast table. The staff moved quietly around me, setting down food I couldn't bring myself to eat. I hadn't had an appetite in months. Hunger had been replaced by emptiness. I heard his footsteps before I saw him. Matthew entered in a black suit, perfectly tailored, his expression carved from stone. He didn't sit. Didn't look at me. Just poured coffee and turned to leave. Matthew, I called, my voice cracking. He paused. Didn't turn. What? Can we talk? Please. I have work. You always have work. I stood, hands shaking. You've avoided me for 9 months. I just want to know what I did wrong. He turned slowly, eyes sharp and merciless. You want to know what you did wrong? He laughed bitterly. You exist, Mara. That's your crime. The words felt like a slap. I don't understand. You don't need to. He walked out. That afternoon I sat in the garden he'd once built for me. Flowers he planted with his own hands. Back when he smiled. Back when he whispered promises against my skin. My phone buzzed. Linda. He hates me, I said the moment she answered. I don't know what I did, but he hates me. I'm coming over. She arrived within the hour, wrapping me in the kind of hug that keeps you from falling apart. We sat together in the sunroom. He can't keep doing this, Linda said. You deserve better. I love him. I know. But love shouldn't feel like punishment. He wasn't always like this, I whispered. He used to protect me, worship me. Now he won't even touch me. Maybe it's time to leave. I tried. My voice dropped. I asked for a divorce. He threatened to kill me. Linda's face went pale. Mara, that's not love. That's control. I don't know how to escape him. I don't know how to escape him. That night Matthew came home late. I locked my door, though I knew it didn't matter. He never came to me anymore. Until tonight. Around midnight the door opened. He stood there disheveled. Tie loose. Shirt undone. Drunk. Before I could speak he crossed the room and kissed me, hard, desperate, furious. I hate you, he muttered, even as his hands held me like he was afraid I'd disappear. Then why are you here? I whispered. He didn't answer. He kissed me again like a man starving. That night he touched me for the first time in 9 months. I let him. Because I missed him. We made wild love, not for minutes, for hours, and I loved every second of it. The next morning, sunlight filled the room. I smiled, until he pulled away. This was a mistake, he said coldly. I was drunk. My heart cracked. Nothing's changed, he added before walking out. Weeks passed. Then one morning I felt sick. The test was positive. Pregnant. I told him that night. His response destroyed me. Is it mine? That was the moment I knew. Nothing, not even a child, could fix what was broken. So I tried to leave. He caught me at the door. You're mine, he said calmly. And you're not going anywhere. His hand wrapped around my throat, not squeezing, just controlling. Run again, he warned, and you'll regret it. I understood then. This wasn't a marriage. It was a cage. The next day Matthew Bale had me moved. Not to another room. Not to another wing. To a private suite on the far edge of his estate outside Aspen, Colorado. So far from the main house it felt like exile. It was beautiful in a cruel way. Polished marble floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows draped in silk curtains. A king-size bed that looked like it belonged in a five-star resort. And a door that locked from the outside. A gilded cage. Days blurred into weeks. Weeks bled into months. My body changed whether I wanted it to or not. My stomach rounded, stretched, grew heavy with life. By the time I hit 8 months, I barely recognized myself in the mirror. I was trapped, pregnant, and completely alone. The staff brought food on silent trays. No eye contact. No words. Like I didn't exist. The only person who spoke to me was Linda. She came whenever Matthew was out of town, slipping into my suite like a secret. One afternoon she sat beside me on the bed, her palm resting gently on my swollen belly. We have to get you out of here, she said quietly. This place isn't healthy. Not for you. Not for the baby. I swallowed hard. How? He has security everywhere. Cameras. Guards. I'll figure something out, she promised. I won't leave you like this. I looked at her, my only constant, my only voice of comfort, and felt tears sting my eyes. You're the only one who stayed. Everyone else disappeared. Linda smiled softly. I'll never abandon you, Mara. 2 weeks later she came with a plan. There's a guard shift change at midnight, she whispered. I paid one of them. We'll have 10 minutes. My heart slammed against my ribs. You're sure? I've been working on this for weeks. Trust me. That night I didn't pack a single thing. Nothing to raise suspicion. Nothing to slow me down. We moved through the halls in silence, shadows sliding across the walls. Every creak, every distant footstep made my pulse spike. We were caught. I didn't finish the thought. We reached the garage. When the gates opened and Linda's car rolled onto the road, it hit me all at once. I was free. Actually free. Where are we going? I whispered, afraid to jinx it. Pie Place, she said. You'll be safe there. Miles away, Matthew sat alone in his study. I didn't know it then, but he was staring at a video he'd tortured himself with for nearly a year. Me. In a hotel room. Another man beside me. The footage showed us lying on the bed, fully clothed, unmoving, like we were asleep. Or worse. Matthew had watched it over and over, searching for proof that it wasn't what it looked like. That I hadn't betrayed him after he'd trusted me enough to let me go out that night. With Linda. A tear slid down his face. He hated himself for still wanting me. For still loving me. That was why he'd turned cold. Why he'd locked his heart and me away. A knock broke the silence. One of his men entered with a file. You need to see this. Now. Matthew opened it. Security footage. Linda handing me a drink at a party. Minutes later, my movements slowing. Linda holding me upright. Leading me away. More footage. Linda dragging my unconscious body into a hotel room. A man, paid, planted, positioned beside me while Linda took photos. Matthew's hands shook. There's more, the man said quietly. Financial records. Messages. She paid him. The truth hit like a bullet. I'd been drugged. Framed. Destroyed. And he'd punished me for it. Where is Mara? Matthew demanded. In her suite. He ran. Burst through the door. Panic detonated in his chest. Find her, he roared. Shut down the city. Now. At Linda's house, I collapsed onto the couch, exhaustion flooding me. She brought me tea, smiling like a savior. You're safe now, she said. I smiled through tears. I don't know what I'd do without you. Sudden pain ripped through my stomach. I gasped. The cup slipped from my hands and shattered. What's wrong? She asked. The baby, I think. Warmth spread between my legs. My water just broke. For a split second, something dark flickered across her face. Then the smile returned. We need to get you to the hospital. She helped me outside, my body heavy, contractions rolling in hard waves. Her arms stayed firm around my waist. "Pie car's right there," she murmured. We were steps away when her grip changed. She shoved me hard. I fell sideways into the bushes, my balance gone, my belly taking the impact. Pain exploded. Something tore. Blood soaked through my clothes. "Why?" I whispered, shaking. Linda stood over me, her face stripped of warmth, her smile sharp and triumphant. "You should have stayed where you belonged." "You're my friend," I cried. She laughed. "Friend? I met Matthew first. I introduced you to him. And you stole him." My vision blurred. "He was supposed to be mine," she hissed. "I saw him at a conference in San Diego. Power, money, control. Everything I wanted. So you destroyed me." "Oh, that was easy," she said lightly. "One pill. One actor. A few pictures. And your perfect marriage collapsed." He straightened. "Goodbye, Mara." Headlights suddenly flooded the driveway. Cars screeched to a halt. Doors slammed. And the last thing I saw before everything went dark was Matthew Bale running toward me. Headlights tore through the darkness. I barely registered the sound of engines skidding to a stop, doors slamming, boots hitting pavement, until I heard Matthew Bale's voice. Raw, broken, terrified. He stepped out of the lead SUV, his face carved from fury and fear, eyes wild as they locked onto the scene. Behind him, state troopers and his security team spread out fast, weapons drawn. Linda froze. Then she ran. She didn't make it 3 steps. Matthew caught her, yanking her back and slamming her against her car so hard the metal dented. The sound echoed through my skull. "You did this," he snarled. "Every single part of it." "Get off me!" Linda screamed, thrashing. "Sir," one of the officers said sharply, moving in. "We'll take her from here." For a second I thought Matthew was going to kill her. His hands were fists, knuckles white, every muscle vibrating with barely contained violence. Then he shoved her toward the police. "Get her out of my sight before I forget I'm trying to be a better man." They dragged her away, still screaming my name, still insisting she loved me. Then Matthew turned and saw me, collapsed in the bushes, blood everywhere. He dropped to his knees beside me like the ground had vanished beneath him. "Mara. God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "The baby," I whispered. "There's so much blood." "You're going to be okay," he said, but his voice cracked. "Both of you. I swear." He lifted me carefully, holding me against his chest. I felt his heart pounding like it was trying to break free. His hands were shaking. "I didn't betray you," I whispered. "I never did." "I know," he said hoarsely. "I know now. I was wrong. I was so wrong." He carried me to the SUV. "Hospital. Now," he barked at the driver. "Don't stop for anything." We tore through Denver streets like the city didn't exist. Red lights meant nothing. Sirens screamed. Matthew held me the entire time, pressing his hand against my side, trying to slow the bleeding. His expensive suit was soaked red. "Stay with me," he whispered into my hair. "Please. Stay with me." "It hurts," I cried. "I know, baby. I know." The hospital lights blinded me. Matthew barely waited for the car to stop before he was carrying me inside, shouting orders. 8 months pregnant. Abdominal trauma. Heavy bleeding. Doctors swarmed. Clothes were cut away. IVs slid into my arms. Machines beeped around me. Blood pressure dropping. Surgery. Now. They wheeled me away. Matthew tried to follow, but a nurse blocked him. "You can't come back. That's my wife. That's my child." "I know. But you need to wait." The doors closed. Everything went dark. When I woke up, my body felt hollow. Heavy. Sore in a way that reached my bones. Matthew was sitting beside my bed, his face buried in my hand like he was afraid to let go. "The baby," I croaked. His head snapped up. Tears filled his eyes. "She's alive. Our daughter is alive. She's in the NICU. Premature but strong." Relief crashed through me so hard I sobbed. "Linda?" I asked. In custody, he said quietly. She confessed. Everything was recorded. She's looking at decades in prison. I closed my eyes. She was never my friend. No, he said. And I was never the husband you deserved. I pulled my hand from his. You should have talked to me, I said through tears. You should have trusted me. I know. You locked me away. You questioned our baby. You looked at me like I was disgusting. My voice shook. I was alone, Matthew. Completely alone. I deserve your anger, he said. All of it. You don't get forgiveness just because the truth came out. He nodded. I know. Later they wheeled me into the NICU. When they placed her in my arms, tiny, fragile, breathing softly, I broke. Hi, my little girl, I whispered. I'm your mama. Her fingers curled around mine. Hope. Matthew watched from the doorway, not daring to step closer. The nurse smiled gently. Have you chosen a name? I looked down at my daughter and swallowed. Grace. Because somehow, despite everything, she was still here. And so was I. Matthew came every day after that. I barely acknowledged him. I answered questions about my recovery. About the baby. Nothing more. There was a wall between us. Thick, unbreakable, poured from months of pain. On the 8th day I was discharged. Matthew arranged for me to move to a private recovery facility in Boulder, Colorado, instead of returning to the estate. I didn't argue. I didn't thank him. I'll cover everything, he said quietly. Anything you or the baby need. I don't want your money. Please, he said. Let me do this. I looked at him with hollow eyes. Fine. But that's all I want from you. He nodded, swallowing whatever he wanted to say. He'd already begged enough. Now he just had to live with what he'd done. 2 weeks later, Linda's trial began. I went because I needed to see justice with my own eyes. I sat in the courtroom with my daughter sleeping against my chest, watching Linda walk in wearing an orange jumpsuit. When her eyes met mine, there was no regret. Only hate. The prosecution laid everything out. The drugging. The staged photos. The manipulation. The attempted murder. The courtroom gasped again and again. And what do you have to say for yourself? The judge asked. Linda smiled. I'd do it again. She didn't deserve him. I did. The sentence came down fast. 35 years. No parole for at least 25. They dragged her out screaming. I felt nothing. Outside, reporters swarmed. Matthew's security shielded me as I got into the car. I never looked back. That night, there was a knock on my door. Matthew stood there looking like a man already half destroyed. What do you want? I asked. He handed me a folder. Divorce papers. Signed. Everything goes to you. I stared at them. Why? Because you asked for your freedom 9 months ago, he said hoarsely. And I took it from you. I trapped you. I became someone I hate. So you're just letting me go? Yes. His voice broke. Sign them or don't. But you have a choice now. He turned to leave. Matthew, I said. Why did you believe the photos so easily? He looked back, pain etched into every line of his face. Because I never believed someone like you could really love someone like me. That's not an excuse. I know. He left. I stood there holding the papers, my heart a mess of anger, grief, and something I refused to name. A month passed. My daughter thrived, round cheeks, bright eyes. Every week flowers arrived. No note. I gave them away. I noticed the security too. Matthew's men. Always nearby. One afternoon I took my daughter to a park. Spring blossoms drifted through the air. She's beautiful. Matthew stood a few feet away. You can sit, I said, surprising myself. He kept his distance. I've been in therapy, he said. Trying to unlearn everything that broke us. Good. Can I hold her? I hesitated, then nodded. He held his daughter like she was glass. I'm your dad, he whispered. And I'm going to spend my life earning the right to say that. When he stood to leave, I stopped him. You can visit once a week. Hope flickered in his eyes. Thank you. Weeks passed. He never pushed. Never asked about the divorce. 3 months after Linda's conviction, I stared at the papers again. And I didn't sign them. When Matthew came that week, I handed them back. I'm not ready to give up completely, I said. This is for our daughter. You can have access to her. But not to me. Not to my heart. I'll earn it, he said. 3 weeks later he showed up at my apartment at midnight. Soaked. Shaking. I bought you the house, he blurted. The one you loved in Lake Tahoe. It's yours. I don't want a house. Then take the company. Everything. Stop, I said. That won't fix this. He dropped to his knees. I can't live without you. My blood went cold. If you don't take me back, he said, eyes wild, I'll kill myself. That's not fair. I'm not manipulating you, he said hollowly. I'm telling you the truth. He walked out into the rain. The phone rang at 6 a.m. Mrs. Bale? This is Denver General Hospital. Your husband was brought in after an accident. He ran into traffic. The world tilted. I grabbed my keys. He had meant it. I burst through the emergency room doors, breathless and shaking, demanding answers I was terrified to hear. A doctor led me into a private waiting room, his face professional but cautious. Your husband sustained severe injuries, he said. Multiple fractures. Internal bleeding. Head trauma. He's stable for now, but he's in a medically induced coma. We won't know the full extent of the damage until he wakes up. My heart slammed painfully. Will he wake up? We're hopeful, the doctor replied. But the next 48 hours are critical. I sank into the chair like my bones had turned to water. He'd actually done it. He'd tried to kill himself because I wouldn't take him back. Guilt crashed over me, heavy, suffocating, but beneath it anger burned so hot it scared me. I sat beside Matthew's hospital bed for 3 straight days. Machines breathed for him. Monitors beeped steadily. His face was swollen, bruised almost beyond recognition. Bandages covered his body. On the second night I leaned close and whispered, "You selfish bastard. How dare you do this? How dare you try to leave Grace without a father? Leave me with this guilt." On the 4th day his eyes opened. Confused at first. Then they focused on me. "Mara," he rasped through the breathing tube. Doctors rushed in, checking vitals, murmuring reassurances. Eventually they removed the tube and left us alone. "I'm sorry," he croaked. I stood up slowly, arms crossed, rage blazing through me. "Sorry? That's all you have to say." "I didn't mean." "You ran into a truck, Matthew," I snapped. "A truck? You deliberately tried to end your life because I wouldn't forgive you for 9 months of torture." My voice shook. "Do you have any idea how selfish that is?" I wasn't thinking clearly. "No, you weren't thinking at all." Tears spilled down my face. "What about Grace? What about your daughter who needs her father? Were you planning to leave her with the memory of a father who killed himself? And me, was I supposed to live with that guilt forever? How is that love?" His eyes closed, tears slipping out. "You're right. I was selfish." "You're damn right you were." I stepped closer. "I was drugged, framed, locked away, pushed while pregnant. I almost died. Our daughter almost died. And I survived. I chose to survive." "I know. So don't you ever take the coward's way out again," I said fiercely. "You don't get to escape consequences by dying. You have to live with them. Just like I have to live with what you did to me." He sobbed openly now. "I'm so sorry." I wiped my tears and straightened. "If you ever try something like this again, I will disappear with Grace and you will never see us again. Do you understand?" "Yes." "If you really want me back," I continued softer now, "you have to be strong enough to handle rejection. Strong enough to wait. Strong enough to live with uncertainty. Can you do that?" "I'll try," he whispered. "Trying isn't enough. You have to do it." I sat beside him exhausted. "I came every day, Matthew. Even angry, even hurt. Because I don't want you dead. I want you alive, for our daughter. Maybe someday for me. But only if you choose to live." "I choose to live," he said. "I choose Grace. I choose to face everything." "Good. Then heal. Go back to therapy. Stop with the grand gestures. I don't need houses or money. I need consistency. Honesty. Strength. You have me," he said. "All of me. Then prove it." As I walked toward the door, he called softly, "Mara?" I turned. "Thank you for coming, even when I didn't deserve it." "That's what love does," I said quietly. "It shows up even when it hurts." 3 months later he knocked on my apartment door. Before he could say a word I hugged him. Hard. I'd missed him more than I'd admitted to myself. I swear, he said into my hair. I will always love you, trust you, cherish you. And if you ever shut me out again, I warned, pulling back, if you ever hurt me the way you did before, I'm gone. And you'll never see me or Grace again. Do you understand? Yes. Then we'll take it one day at a time. Over the next months, Matthew proved himself. Therapy. Communication. Patience. Answering every painful question without deflecting. He never rushed me. Never demanded my body when my heart wasn't ready. Trust rebuilt slowly. Fragile. Earned. One night 6 months later, I woke from a nightmare. Locked in that suite again, pregnant and alone. I was gasping when my phone rang. Matthew. Are you okay? He asked. Nightmare.